All right, little quick tips you might find interesting. I'm transferring some paper patterns for some wing ribs over onto Mylar because Mylar will not stretch, so I can take it and take some Super 77 adhesive, spray adhesive, and I can glue it to form blocks or material to build form blocks out of. If you use regular paper, it will, if you apply glue to it, that type of thing, why it will stretch. And so Mylar doesn't do that. So what I'm doing with this set is just transferring over. Same way if you use a photocopier to copy your plans, it's not going to give you actual dimension wise. So what I'm doing is just transferring over to this Mylar. And one of the things that we find that can be a problem is getting a nice smooth curve when you lay out the edges. Now I've already transferred the larger outer rib. There's a second rib, the smaller rib, station 95.5 is the one I'm doing now. And when you try and do these by hand, at least I'm not as steady as I could be as far as transferring the curves over. So what I found that I do with them is I take a flexible metal ruler, and we'll show you in just a minute here. Let's see, we're station 95.5. And we mark out all our holes. This 0.188 diameter is a jig hole. And I take and actually mark the station number that I'm drawing on each of these when it lays out the holes. It's not absolutely necessary, but it's just a double check for me, so that I make sure when we've got two rib holes, while we've got jig holes and lightning holes for both sizes, or for both ribs. So I mark it to make sure I've got the right one and not added anything that I didn't need to have. And that's all our markings other than our curves. I found the easiest way for me to do these curves, like I say, since I can tend to be a little bit shaky, is I will mark out this tight nose because it doesn't work as well like this. Now I do have a Gumby sitting here that I will use part of the time and see. So what I do to get a little bit better line is I'll take a weight, in this case I'm just using my pencil sharpener, and we will lay this out. A Gumby doesn't actually give quite as smooth a curve, and you don't even have to be right onto your line with your mark. You can adjust your pen, but if you can kind of use that as a guide, why, even though I can be a little bit shaky here, while you're a lot more steady, I am anyway, to get that nice smooth curve. Just as a little side note, on the parts that I sell on the Atlas Machine Shop site, I've got a lot of parts promised to people that I've said that I was going to get produced for them. I am going to get them produced, but at this point in time, right now, we're in the 1 degree weather mark here, and my shop's pretty cold. So for the next few days until it warms up, there's going to be absolutely nothing happening in the shop. So, and there probably won't be until the weather starts to warm up, because I'm not going to fight the cold weather, heat the shop up, and then still ultimately be cold. So that's why I'm playing inside with stuff like this. I've got several little projects going on here. The 3D printer's running in the background, and I've got bullet collator parts for the reloading room being printed out right now. I'm playing with that. And I'm playing with some airplane project stuff, both current and future airplane projects. So I'm just kind of hiding in the warm shop and enjoying life for a few days here. So that's pretty much the way I lay these out. I go back and double check that I've got the holes before we untape it. We've got all our markings on. That's a little bit of a wonky mark there. But at least these are relatively straight, and I can go back and they get corrected a little bit more when we start sanding form blocks. So just a little bit of a tip that maybe gives a little bit nicer result when you're playing with this stuff. And that's what we're doing, is playing. On these I extended my lines because as I was talking here, and for the larger rib. So anyway, I've got a few more of these ribs to line out. This particular sheet, I bought this set of plans used a while back, and they are transferred into my name. I am the legitimate owner of these, and you'll hear me harp on that quite a bit. Guys get a little testy about that, but that's too bad. And normally I would leave these in a full sheet, and just because there are notes that pertain to each, to different things. So I would leave them into one sheet. These were already cut apart. But anyway, that's the way I will lay out ribs and transfer them to Mylar. These are on there in that Sharpie mark. We can go ahead, Super 77 them to a form. And for the main forms, we can be very careful about the way we sand them, of course, and they'll be our basic forms. We'll develop other ones off of that probably. But that gives us a nice basic form. This Mylar can live on the probably MDF form blocks is what I'm going to build for these, and they can live on there forevermore for reference. So anyway, hopefully you find it a little bit useful. Comment, suggestions, leave them in the comment section for me below, guys. And as always, thanks for taking the time to watch.